Hey guys, so today we're gonna pull for the Minwu card, but let's also talk about some stuff because I feel like these card pulls are kind of just like you go to the fifth step and you get the card, and it's usually not filled with many surprises. So let's kind of just get into the pulls and talk at the same time. So this past week and a half has actually been a pretty decent one. I myself have been personally enjoying the guild battle. The limited guild battle of this week has actually been a lot of fun. Um, this format that they have with I think it's a total cost of 540. For whatever reason, I never liked it before, but for whatever reason, I am enjoying it quite a bit now because what is happening is that people are just kind of throwing in double 100 cost units. They're not really thinking about like their espers and their VCs, and I feel like it's making it a lot easier for me and my guild. Um, the funny thing too is that a lot of my guild members, we all decided to use ice. I think individually we all decided to use ice, and it's funny because we all have different ice units. I myself am using Curry, Agrius, and Laswell. I have some people using Snow, some people using Alaya, some people are using Eliza. It's like an entire McLeod. There's an entire spectrum of ice units, but um, people are using ice units, so I think that's nice to see. Um, at first, I was a little scared because we're gonna be all the same type. Uh, Usually that matters because you don't want to like lose the same type, but it doesn't matter in this guild battle because weakness is not applying. So it's I think that's actually made it a little bit more fun where you don't have to worry about getting instantly wrecked by getting baited by the wrong team. So I think that's actually been a lot of fun. I feel like the ice teams have been holding up pretty well. We've been doing pretty well. We only got a couple of losses so far, but compared to the last guild supremacy, we've been doing like super well compared to that. So I'm pretty happy about that. That's actually been pretty good. So, and yeah, so far we got nothing here. I think we're going to step 4. I don't know. In terms of these 5 steps, I feel like there's not much surprise going on here. So I kind of feel like I might as well skip. But kind of the reason I'm just talking at the same time. But this guild battle has just kind of gotten me to realize a lot of times I don't like doing PvP, but I'm realizing that the reason that I don't like doing PvP is because I always have to. There's PvP to do every day, and sometimes there's like multiple PvPs to do in a single day or for a week. So the thing that I've realized that really bothers me is that you can't really store that many formations. And yes, you can. You can store a pretty decent amount, but I honestly would like the ability to store maybe like and the game crashed for me. I'm running the Google Play Store. Oh no, didn't fully crash, so it just froze for a second. So yeah, I'd like the ability to run like at least 2 different teams of each element. I'd like to just have those saved. I'd like to just have like a low cost team saved, maybe a team with an MR, whatever format they decide to do. I want to have like a team saved for each one of those formats. I want to have a magic team. I want to have a fire team, a physical team, not a fire team. I want to be able to save a whole bunch of different types of team, but the way that the game is set up, it kind of doesn't really allow for that. And actually, one of the features, as the game freezes again, one of the features that I really only noticed recently is that, not even that recently at this point, I just haven't really talked about it, but it was a while ago. The fact that we have the template. So the template allows you to store 100 different teams. So I actually like that. That's actually what I want. I want to be able to store 100 different teams. I might have to close out of this because no, okay. I want to be able to store 100 different teams. So, however, what's been happening to me is that, so for guild battle, for example, right, you have the normal and then you have the limited. So like this will automatically limit you to 570. I wish that you can just say go into template here and limit yourself to 570 and just make a team just to have it for the future. I wish they would let you do that. I mean, of course, you can just copy it from here to template, of course, but I feel like I wish they can take away that extra step. So this is my team, and what I've basically been doing is going after physical teams, and it's actually been working pretty well. I went with like some decent like MR quality Espers here, except for Golem, and then I went with like one of each UR card, and I didn't really have that much space left after that, so I kind of just left one entire VC blank here. But that's actually been working for me pretty well, so yeah, I really like that. So yeah, going back to template, so yeah, template is exactly what I want. It offers you 100 teams, and that's exactly what I would want. I think I do have some teams saved here somewhere. No, actually I don't. So here comes the problem. Now that I'm using the PC client, it doesn't share the teams. Like, this isn't saved server side, it's saved on your device. So what's happened to me a couple of times already is that I had like a good like 10 teams saved here, and I had to, the download messed up like over and over again. It kept messing up, and I had to uninstall the game and then reinstall it, and then I lost all my template teams. So unfortunately, that's a thing that happens. Alright, so another thing that I definitely enjoyed, so I think this is last week at this point, like I said a week and a half, but this is the last week. It's really been like a week and 6 days already. I'm sorry guys, I'm really slow with these videos. That's why I'm kind of jam-packing everything here. So one thing that we had last week was the quick pick match, and honestly, the quick pick match, at first I was excited about it, but then it kind of just got tedious. I feel like a lot of these PvP modes get kind of tedious, like having to do it every day for a week. I don't know, like sometimes it just feels tedious. Maybe it's just for me finding the time slot to do it. Like that's a factor for me too. But what I ended up doing is what I've seen a lot of people do, and I went with a dark team and with a light team so that I wouldn't have to worry about like weakness or anything. I mean, obviously light versus dark, but whatever weakness you get out of that, you also get strength. But I kind of didn't even really use the dark team. I just used the light team because I just got my Jade into 120. And I gotta say, it was actually pretty fun. It was more straightforward than what I'm used to playing, so that made it a lot simpler for me. And I gotta say, this team actually did pretty well. Granted, I'm only in gold league, but this team was actually doing pretty well. I think someone definitely did give me the advice to build Lucio's sword, and he did that. And it's actually pretty good in terms of the stuff that it gives him. Defense, debuff, resistance. That's actually really good. I have been running Saintly Wall. He's got, I'm not really sure if he uses the Resurrect on this, the re-raise, but I gotta say, Lucio actually is incredibly sturdy, and he actually does some good damage. Warrior of Light is, like, people, I kind of get the feeling that people say he's outdated, but he's actually like super good, because he just heals at the right times, and he's got the healing power up on one of his buffs. I forgot which one it was. It's actually, yeah, it's on Dragoon lore. Healing power up, so he heals like crazy. He's basically like a high faith healer, and I don't really even have him on high faith. So Warrior of Light is actually super good, and he survives. I feel like they actually, even with his hate, they actually end up killing Jaden first. So, but I feel like Warrior of Light is actually like that good. He might not be doing like the most damage, but he's actually just that good where he does a decent amount of damage just by surviving. And this setup I had here was actually pretty good. I didn't have the max speed because I had kind of distributed to the dark team as well, but I probably should have moved that here considering I wasn't really using the dark team. But all in all, like, I think this team did pretty well. Once I started using like Lucio and Warrior of Light to generate hate, like that made it a little bit easier for Jaden. And I kind of had to mess with the formations a lot to kind of just get Jaden to stay in the back. Jaden doesn't have as much range as I thought he did. Like, Jaden has a total of 6 range, and so do Fina and Eliza, while King Curry has 7 range, and so does Corwell, Nivlu, and Krace. There may be some others I'm missing, but those are some pretty good ones. Of course, you can do his buffs. What I ended up doing was giving him Lilith sunglasses, and that was actually really fun. And the fun thing too about that is, at first I was actually using it without trust stones. I did eventually put them on. Not really the most maximized trust stones here. I think these are just kind of basic ones that I just threw on there. But even without trust stones, it was so helpful to have that extra +2 range. Jaden is just like a killing machine when he's set up pretty properly. So that was a lot of fun to do those quick click matches. I wish I would have recorded them, because like sometimes I feel like not recording because I'm just out of it. But it was a lot of fun to do those quick pick matches. All right, so another thing I want to talk about, I don't really have a picture or anything prepared, but it was the announcement of Kefka. So out of nowhere, I guess out of nowhere, FF6 came back, but Kefka, we kind of thought he would come with the return of the collab. It's kind of been a trend, I guess. Golbez came with the rerun, and now Kefka, and Sephiroth. So I think it's kind of a trend at this point. So it's not really that much of a surprise, but it actually kind of is a surprise, and it's really nice to see that they just added into the game. And so he turns out to be a fire unit, which kind of throws a wrench in my plan, because I said in the previous video that I was going to move away from just pulling fire units and just kind of try to vary it up a little bit more. But now that he's coming out, I think he is actually really, really good. So I definitely want to pull him. I was very iffy on Roy Mustang. I still kind of am thinking about that. He is a magic unit, and people say like, oh, you can use 3 magic units, but I don't know if I really want to be using 3 magic units. I kind of want like a healer or a tank or something. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to be pulling for Roy Mustang, but you never know. I'm definitely pulling for Yuffie, that's for sure. But yeah, going back to Kefka, he is kind of a beast. He's got spirit and magic resistance debuffs. He already has a high magic power and spirit penetration. I think it's spirit penetration. I actually have it up over here. I think it's spirit penetration. He's gonna also have I think it's a support skill that gives a move and jump +1, so that's gonna be very good for him. Yeah, spirit penetration and cast time up. He's gonna have a big AoE similar to Stern's. And does that have cast time? Yes, it does have cast time. It's gonna be similar to Stern's huge hazard render, where it's going to decrease magic resistance, decrease attack, magic, and agility. And it's a diamond shaped AoE. That's gonna be pretty insane. So that's going to be one of the better attacks that he's going to have. He's going to have re-raise and dispel re-raise. He's going to have high mobility. He actually has a little bit of sturdiness to him. If you look at his master abilities, he's got AoE resistance. He's got a little bit more HP and some defense. So that's going to be on his, if you include his dream ability too. So he's not super duper sturdy in terms of HP and whatnot, but he's gonna have that extra bit. Like maybe he's gonna survive 1 hit, and then he's gonna have the re-raise, so he's gonna be there to survive and actually get some attacks in. He also has confusion on his limit break, on his limit burst. So the way I think of him is that he's going to be an annoying clown running around the field. So I'm pretty sure that pretty much lives up to his character. So I feel like they did a pretty decent job of making him an annoying clown dude. So yeah, I kind of already mentioned the Roy Mustang, the upcoming fire units. Okay, so another thing, just gonna briefly touch on here is the defend the castle mode here. I haven't really played it because I thought that the 0 out of 6 was the amount of, you only had 6 attempts to do this, so I was like, okay, I'll save it till I'm in the mood to do it. But little did I know that that was actually just the 6 stars. So I saved it for no reason. But it just seems like a normal wave type of thing. Of course, if you want a title and you want to earn the title, of course you can definitely do that. I'm gonna try to get a decent score. I kind of just ran this on auto for right now. I'm doing my fire clear, of course. I'm gonna try to get a decent score, but I'm not really gonna kill myself to try to do that. So yeah, I'm sure there's I haven't really even checked, but I'm sure there's a reward somewhere for ranking in the top, in terms of Vizier, for ranking in the top 1,000, 10,000, whatever it is. So I might try to do that and try to get some extra Vizier out of that, if that does exist. Okay, so another expose on my own account. I mentioned before that my trust stones were kind of lacking. I probably mentioned some other things. I was kind of thinking about it, and I'm actually, when I started the game up to a certain point, I built a lot of espers, and I got to the point where I was comfortable with the ones I had. And, I built a couple here or there, Bahamut, some of the stronger ones. But lately, I've been getting all these espers. I guess they've just been part of vision cards and whatnot, and the ones from the raids. And I just haven't been building them. And I'm realizing that, like, hey, man, it's probably part of the reason my account is not as strong as I want it to be. Because granted, a lot of the espers I already have are already pretty good and they're pretty useful. But there's a lot of, like, really specialized espers here that are going to be super helpful for, like, tweaking certain units to being, like, their max potential. And these are some of the ones here that I just haven't built. I had it all in my mind to kind of go all through this, but at this point I kind of already forgot. But one of my favorites that I do have built here is Freeze S, because that's a really good one for magic tanks. So that's one I kind of want to use more, and that's why I have it bookmarked here. But there's a lot of other good ones here, like this one right here, which is, I think this is going to be really good for Macherie. I think it came out with Macherie, so I'm not really saying anything super profound here. But yeah, there's a couple of other ones here. Like I've been working on Jaden, so I think this one's going to be good for Jaden. And, I haven't even touched this stuff. No, this isn't for Jaden. This is for Oberon, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that I just haven't even touched. So look at him. He's on level 1. He's got nothing. So it's just like, what am I doing here? There's a lot of, even some of these MR/cost 30 espers. The limited guild battle is kind of what made me start thinking about these, because there's a lot of really good cost 30 espers here that I haven't even started using. So yeah, I have some that are 2-star too, so obviously I'm going to try to get those to 3-star. And yeah, I'm basically just telling on myself, guys, here. I don't know. I get so wrapped up with doing other stuff. Like I try to do too much stuff. I kind of forget to come back and do some of this other stuff. So that's definitely something I am wanting to work on here. And sort of last but not least, another thing I don't really have anything for. I guess I could go to his announcement here. Is the new unit Rulgia, the new Crystal Warrior. He's going to be Earth. He's going to be a ranged missile unit. He's going to be pretty good, actually. I think he's going to be a very technical unit, so he might not be for everybody, but he does have some really cool stuff in his kit. He's going to be a debuffer slash a breaker. He's gonna have two separate range up support skills. That's a range +1 and a range +2. He technically has 2 range buffs across 2 of his jobs, in his main job and in his sniper sub job. He has a range buff. I was thinking that they might stack, but that doesn't actually make any sense because most buffs, like 2 attack buffs, don't stack, so why would 2 range buff stacks? But I think this might be the first unit that has 2 separate range buffs on 2 sub jobs that he can actually have, so might be worth testing, but it's probably not going to stack if I'm really thinking about it. He's going to have evasion down, so that's going to help a lot with accuracy for people and against evade. He's going to have protect and shell debuff. And I think that same skill has a move down to it, so that's actually pretty good to be able to, considering he's really super long range, to be able to do a move down. And we've seen that on Summer Lilith where she has that immobilize. That is super potent on her. So I think that's a really good thing to be able to do the move down. I think he might have 2 move down. No, actually I don't think he has the one from Sniper. He has the agility down from Sniper. So yeah, he's gonna have pretty much all the good ones on the Sniper sub job. I think there's like a paralysis one. Let's see it here. Sniper. He's got it's not paralysis, it's disable. He's got agility down. Whatever Nether Beast is, he has Nether Beast Killer. Not that it's gonna matter. He does have the paralyze. I think that's actually a TP skill. Yeah, TP. So that's gonna be good. He has barrier break, and I think I saw somewhere over here that he should have a missile resistance down, so that's another one of his debuffs. So yeah, he's actually got a lot of stuff that's going to be very useful for a ranged unit like he is. So it's almost like he has like the potential that Barrett had, except he's way better than that. He's not going to be also a tank unit. He's going to be like an annoying distance unit. And on top of that, his limit burst, even though it's 43 AP, it has AP restore for 3 turns. It's not really that much of a high percentage, but it's going to help offset that cost of the limit break. So I think that's actually going to be pretty good. He seems like he's going to be really good, but I don't think he's really going to be for everybody, because you really have to kind of think of how you're going to use him and how you're going to make his debuffs effective. Alright, I kind of went through a lot of stuff there for a pull video. I hope that was at least somewhat entertaining / informative, and hopefully I got stuff right. And I apologize for the stuff I said last week about the lightning element having overpowered units. I did look into that, and they're not, in terms of how the meta works, they're not super overpowered. Yes, they are strong, but they're not really like ridiculously overpowered. So yeah, so water might actually be at somewhat of an advantage right now. So but yeah, again, hopefully I didn't say anything too crazy this week. The range buff thing that I mentioned, it's probably not going to work, but I haven't heard anything about it, so that's something I'm going to like double check and look into. But I think it would be interesting if you can do 2 range buffs. But you still also have Lilith's TMR, so even without those, that's going to be an extra 5 range that he could potentially have. So I think he's going to be pretty good with that. And then in War Division's calc, I didn't really see a way to check range, like innate range. So I don't know how to check that, but I would like to see how he compares to like King Curry. Oh, and actually I forgot to mention for Kefka, he's gonna have Energist and Arithmetician. So those are 2 really good sub jobs. Arithmetician, he's gonna be able to heal too. So so that's gonna make him even crazier. That's out of control, I think. So I'm definitely looking forward to pulling for Kefka. Just kind of checking right here for range. Yeah, I don't see range even in the unit builder, so yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out later at some point. Because I love being able to stack a ton of range on my missile units, so I think that's pretty fun. Alright guys, I think I've talked for enough, so thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.